guys, we're back. We're here to do Married at First Sight, Season 18, Episode 14. So we're going to start out, and I want to thank everyone who's been riding with me, that I haven't been doing reviews. I told you guys in the thing, I've been going through stuff. So, thank you for your patience. So let's talk about Thomas and Camille. On this episode, Thomas is really not picking up what Camille is laying down. She's communicated to him clearly. I heard it. I hear other people, whose shows I've been looking at, reviewing, they hear it. Thomas isn't getting it. And I think he's missing an opportunity, a big opportunity. I mean, this is his moment to start doing some swagginess, to start showing that this is the guy that Camille wants to put her trust in and lead the family. She said that on the honeymoon, that, they're different roles. She can play a role, but she also wants to be able to see him play a role. So this is the time for him to step up and do his swaggy thing and show her that he can be that leader to tell them and take them into this next phase of their relationship. And he is just falling down on the job. When they were at the fondue dinner, he just was like, oh, well, we got to do what we got to do. No, Joker, no, that is not the correct answer. There is no we got to do what we got to do. And just, bite the bullet and wait until we can, safely get out of our leases. This is not a safe space. This is not married, to date. This is married at first sight. So you set up and you took a plunge. You're going to have to keep taking these plunges. The plunge was not just to meet her at the altar. The plunge is also, what are you going to do after these 8 weeks to make sure that you keep your marriage and you keep all of the work that you've done for these 8 weeks intact and keep the train on the track. And Thomas is missing it. I wish he would be able to talk to his brother, about this. I think his brother would help him gain some perspective. And I just think he's missing, the mark. What else with them? So Pia has been talking to them about their intimacy. And he's saying that, he's a giver. And he wants Camille to be a giver too. And so I don't know how that's going to work. Because if the thing were working the way that it's supposed to work, all of those things should be in reciprocation. So I don't know what that whole thing is all about. I'm not all, hyped up on their sex life either. I've noticed them interacting, like just cooking and eating with each other. Their food is not appetizing to me. Like that whole pokey thing that they did with the edamame and all that. Yeah, that wasn't appealing. Maybe y'all should just stick to meatloafs, girl. What else with Thomas and Camille? I'm glad that they have gotten past where she thinks that he's too white, for a black man. I'm happy to hear that. They moved on. So if I think of anything else with these guys, then I'll circle back. So let's talk about Carla and Juancho. So Juan is still in his head. I don't know what made him apply for this show and really think that he's going to be able to use his logical mind to get him through this situation. You have to be balanced. You've got to have your logical mind and you've got to have an emotional mind. And I don't see an emotional mind with Juan. The first time I saw it that I can remember, on a vulnerable level, is when they were reading the letters, to themselves. The next time I can hear him having a level of vulnerability that we didn't see is when him and David was bonding with each other on the honeymoon, and they went and had this amazing, metaphysical experience, together. Those are the only times that my mind is telling me that he actually stepped outside of his logical mind to embrace something else. The thing that I got on the after show that I thought that was really interesting, because during these past episodes, he's been really doing a lot of spiritual, stuff with Carla, and he was talking to his friend Ale, and he was saying that he's not into the sage burning, he's not into the incense, he's not into the crystals, he's not into the tarot reading, he's just not into that whole kind of thing. I've never heard him say anything about Jesus, so I guess, he's not into that either. He's literally an analytical person, and that's going to make it very difficult because he lives in a world full of people who are connected and grounded on a spiritual level, and that is where Carla is. I think that she's willing to embrace his analytical side because she's really been kind of picking his brain, listening for his advice on entrepreneurial, capitalistic kind of understanding that she's missing out on because she's so grounded in her spirituality. So he should be able to see her value in her spirituality and then kind of be able to find his own path towards, that as well. So I think that he's missing out on a huge opportunity to get the most out of the experiment. He and Ikechi are closer than he actually, believes them, to be. What else with Juan and Carla? Basically, that I can think of. I actually like some of the conversation that Juan has with the group as a whole. And I'm moving ahead. When they were at that retreat dinner, I thought that what he was saying about Ikechi was insightful about him being a teacher, and then this lack in his character that he sees, and how that lack in his character is going to show up in a lack in being able to teach his students, effectively. I like that Juan is balanced in the way that he tries to communicate with people. Like when they were talking to the woman with the tarot cards, he listened to what she had to say, even though he disagreed with her. His response to her was, okay, I'll think about what you have to say. Whether he's going to think about it or not, that still was an appropriate response. I'll think about what you have to say, and I'll take it under advisement. That was actually an intelligent conversation, and I appreciate that, from Juan, because he's not disrespecting her and saying, I don't believe in this bullshit. So he's giving her that beaten space to communicate herself without him having to adopt what she's saying. He's giving it in the middle and saying, thank you for that information. I'll take it under advisement. And that's really honestly all you can ask a person, to do. You can't force people to believe the same thing, that you believe. So I like that aspect, of his conversation. Things about his conversation that I don't like is his goofiness. When Juan is goofy, it detracts from his intelligence. Sometimes goofy is cute. I guess when I haven't seen a cute goofy on Juan yet. I just haven't seen it. I didn't see it on a honeymoon, and I haven't seen it up until this point. He thinks that he's funny, and Carla does a really good job at laughing when she probably doesn't want to, and really just engaging with that side, of him. And I don't think that he appreciates, that from her, that effort, that she's putting in, with him. What else is it about Juan's conversation? I don't like that he is not being affectionate with Carla. I agree with Rudy when she was on the after show, this past after show, where she was saying, take the opportunity, touch her more, touch her on the shoulder, give her a hug, give her, and I'm not talking about a romantic hug. I'm just talking about a side hug. Just give her a hug. She up there cooking, or she's cleaning, or she's doing something. Just walk up to her and give her a side hug. Him doing this level and putting this level of barrier up because he doesn't want to be sexual. Again, it's missing the mark. He's not getting the full benefit of the experiment just to meet each other on a human level. I've had a friend just walk up to me and just give me a side hug. That means a lot. And he is not emotionally intelligent enough to be able to ascertain those little kinds of things. It would affirm with Carla that he appreciates her as a human. She understands that he's not being sexual, but he is still meeting a part of what she needs. She's a touchy-feely. She likes people to come up and give her a hug and, pat her, on the hand and say, girl, thank you. I appreciate you. See, he doesn't, those are nuances that he's missing. So, who else do we have? Y'all want to talk about Ikechi and MM? Oh my goodness. So, one of the things that I'm finding annoying about the people who are watching this train wreck of Ikechi and MM is black people really are special. Okay? Like I said, I grew up in the 1970s where we actually used to show more affection and love to each other. I mean, in our families, and I didn't even get that much out of my family. But I still saw, especially when my grandmothers, were alive, we were actually more interactive, with each other in my family. And I felt more energy. I felt more affectionate energy, even if people didn't say it. Like, I love you. You mean a lot to me. I didn't get any of that, growing up. MM didn't get any of that, growing up. She was saying that, on the honeymoon. So why people expect her to have a level of understanding about men, the way the world works in a romantic way. She's figured out how to get an education. She's figured out how to run a business. What she hasn't figured out how to do is to have successful relationships. I would say 99% of black people have not figured out how to have successful relationships. We put up with a lot to not get back a whole lot, especially as black women. I always wondered why my grandmother didn't get remarried. Now I'm not confused why she didn't get, remarried. My other grandmother, her husband, I didn't see them do a whole lot of loving things, with each other. Anytime I would see them dance together, which wasn't, frequent, that was really odd. It was just kind of like weird, to see it. Whereas I should have been in a house where they should have been spontaneously dancing with each other all the time. They should have, my grandfather was really just standoffish. He was judgmental. I often thought that he thought that I was stupid, especially going back, looking. And I probably was. I was very naive, as a child. And it took me a lot as an adult to learn how to shed a lot of that, kind of energy off me. And I think it still kind of sticks because I feel like people kind of treat me like they think I'm stupid until I actually have to go off on them, or I have to come out a bag on their ass, just show them I'm not as stupid as you think that I am. And it's like no academic achievement that I've managed to have thus far has managed to get a level of respect out of people. So I totally get where MM is coming from on a professional level, and as far as really being ignorant about the dating culture, because she's a Nigerian American who actually had Nigerian parents who gave her a Nigerian understanding. Balance that with an American understanding, and you are going to have a clash because they don't marry with each other. And one of the reasons why they don't marry with each other is because black people in America have been colonized. Okay? The kind of black people that I grew up with do not exist anymore. They are gone the way of the dodo and the dinosaur. So if you think that eating chitlins, cornbread, fatback, and greens is culture, you have missed the mark. Food is only a part of what our culture is supposed to be. We've been stripped of everything in this country, all the way down to the little bit of culture that we managed to find for ourselves here. That is even gone. We are husks. And every time I see people denigrating MM, I remember those same people denigrating me when I was in high school, when I was in elementary school, as an adult, when I need people in my community to stand behind me and stand with me. You know, oh, she this, oh, she that, oh, she needs to do this, oh, she ain't doing that right, and you need to, and why you, and we have no loving in our culture for each other anymore. We only have degradation, demeaning, and disrespectful understanding and communication with one another. So for everybody that's out there talking about, well, why do you man want to be with him? He ain't treating her right. He ain't doing this. He ain't doing that. And why she want to be in a marriage? Because she takes a marriage seriously, as we all should. We used to take marriage very seriously. And now we treat marriage the same way the white Western ideology has taught us to believe. Ah, well, if he ain't doing nothing for you, then you need to just drop him. Child, if we actually thought about that, the black household would not have made it. Our grandmothers put up with shit from our grandfathers. Our mothers and our aunts have put up with shit from their husbands that you're telling MM that she is not supposed to be able to put up with. That is hypocrisy. The other reason why she's confused about it is because she doesn't understand the black male mind. She doesn't understand the black male American mind. So she doesn't even know the animal that she's dealing with. That joker is crazy. 99.99999% of black men in America are crazy. These jokers have grown up with a religion that is a lie. They have grown up in a society that has taught them in school nothing but lies. Capitalism is a lie. Western ideology is bullshit. And you are going out, interacting, creating relationships and marriages with each other based on lies. And then you want to try to take all of that mess and turn it into logic. And then you want to judge her because she's trying to make a marriage work with a stranger. That's what the show is about. You're not just supposed to get in your feelings because stuff ain't going your way the way that you want it. It's not the picture perfect, birds and butterflies and rainbows and sunshine image of what you thought that it was supposed to be. You got to get dirt under your fingernails. You got to get some sweat You have to be able to put some energy and some muster and your back into this whole experiment. And that's what I see her showing up as. And for all of y'all who are sitting up talking about what you would do in this, you don't know what you would do in this situation. That is a whole nother thing about why I appreciate Carla saying she doesn't know. She doesn't know how she would have navigated this situation if she were David. She's like, I've been watching this mess. It's hard to look at. And I can't say to him, you should have done X, Y, and Z, because he's caught up in his feelings. Just like Michelle was caught up in her feelings during the honeymoon and during most of this, experience. Now David is now caught up in his feelings. He's not making good decisions. He's lying. He's turning around, creating emotional bonds and intimacy with someone that's not his wife. And Michelle has not tried to create intimacy. She has not tried to create one iota of intimacy with her husband. So now there's a woman out there who's able to make an intimate connection with this man, and she's wanting him to be more loyal to the idea of a marriage than the actuality of a marriage. So this is the reverse NM. NM is more committed to the idea of a marriage than she is getting emotionally. And David is now connecting emotionally and letting go of the idea of a marriage. So you guys, there are certain things. There's the saying where you can't have your cake and eat it too. There are certain circumstances where you have to be able to put in, and then you're not going to be able to receive the full benefit of what you put in for. Sometimes, you're going to make a cake, and then you're not going to be able to eat it because you're going to give it to somebody else. Or you made it, for another person specifically, for a wedding or something. Then you're not going to be able to eat yourself. You're going to have to be able to put energy into something that you may not get a chance to taste the residual, of. But when you get a benefit from having done so, yes, if I'm baking a cake for someone, for their wedding or for their birthday or for, condolences or whatever it is, that I'm doing, I'm still getting a benefit from doing something, even though I didn't get a chance to actually taste and have part of, said product. So we're going to have to be able to be flexible in our minds now. We can't afford. Black people who are watching this show who want to use Western ideology to be able to understand this show are going to be just as lost as the people that they're talking about. Okay? If you are a capitalist and you believe in this capitalistic bullshit, then you're not going to be able to benefit from watching this train wreck of reality TV any more than the people who are participating in it. So I don't care if you have a mansion. I don't care if you've got 6, 10, 12 figures in your bank account. It doesn't matter if you don't have that same level of character and personality and compassion and empathy. Those things have to go together. You're a billionaire in the Goldman Sachs, then you need to be a billionaire as far as who you are as a human being. Those two things have to mirror each other in order for it to matter. And black people have forgotten that. I'm very thankful that I had that opportunity to be able to see that, because kids today are coming up in households that have lost the plot. So we talked about Thomas, Ikechi, Juan, David, and Michelle. The thing I want Michelle to understand, again, if I have said this, in the past, she's going to have to take accountability. There's somebody in the comments on one of these videos that was saying, oh, well, we got to give it to Michelle. You know, she ain't no fool. She, you know, got David and she doing this, that, and the third. So she, you know, we got to give her credit for that. No, I'm not going to give Michelle credit for anything. Okay? I'm not going to give her credit for a damn thing in this whole experiment because she showed up being a suspicious colonizer. And why she said that she wanted a black man is stunning to me. She is the kind of white woman that should stay far away from black men. It pisses me off that she thinks that she has anything about her of worth to a black man. She is barely worthy for a man. And the white man needs to take her and get her the hell away from any other ethnic, you know, group. Y'all keep her in your camp, in your blonde-haired, blue-eyed camp, and don't let her out. Do not let her out into any other ethnicity. We have a saying in the South. We call them crackers. And she is a saltine. That heifer is a saltine cracker that needs to stay away from ethnic people romantically. And it really offends me. It offends me greatly that they put her with David. For all his faults, she should never have been anywhere in his vicinity. And now she's in a state where she wants to kind of prove why she feels like she was right to treat him this way this time. Oh, well, all my walls are back up. And I don't even want to do anything, you know, anymore. Bitch, you weren't doing nothing. You weren't doing nothing. Like, we had gotten to a point. We had gotten better. Y'all didn't do anything. Madison talks to this man exponentially more than you do. And then you're mad because there's somebody out there that's talking to him, that's communicating with him, that's connecting with him, that wants to do things with him, that wants to be in the same space and place with him. This is not dating at first sight, Michelle. This is married at first sight. I don't even know I don't even know who David is anymore. This is a new David. Bitch, we never knew you. All this, oh, Michelle, if you get to know her, she's one of the most loyal people. Her heart is so big. But bitch, where is it? We haven't seen anything out of you, Michelle, to even correlate to what other people are saying about you. So, yeah, miss me with this whole victimization, you know, thing that you got going on. She was at the dinner, at the retreat dinner. Oh, well, you know, he's only telling the truth now because I actually had to talk to his cousin. And his cousin told me that, you know, he was lying. So, don't sit up and think that he's being all magnanimous now because I had to, you know, take him down a peg in order for him to be able to talk what he's talking now. And I'm like, really, Michelle? Really? You wanted this man to be humble. You did all this because you want to see him eat crow. So he's sitting at the table eating crow. Okay, he got it all up in his teeth. And then you just want to mush his face in it by telling him about, well, I had to talk to his cousin in order for me to get this out of him. Because he been lying to me for 5 days. He been lying to me. And I had, oh my God. And Thomas was like, okay, is this energy coming out of you because you care about the marriage? You know, where's all this coming from? And so now she's looking at Madison and saying, well, she's telling not Thomas, but Alan. She's getting him, you know, all sucked into this shit. Instead of letting Alan and Madison have their relationship while she focuses on the bullshit that is going on between her and David. Now she's sucking Alan into, you know, this mess. Oh my God. I don't even understand, you know, on the after party, when Carla was keeping it real, and she was like, well, Why is not romantic with you? So blah 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 blah. And Carla was like, okay, yeah, no, no, I'm not doing the same thing that David is doing. However, if I had to put up with the same thing that David put up with, I can't tell you what my reaction would have been. So you're trying to pigeonhole and say that he's married, we're together, it wasn't perfect, I was trying. Well, you weren't trying hard enough, Michelle. Okay, people's feelings can get hurt. And every time y'all go out, you go and get your eyebrows done. You go to the sushi place. Oh, you can't put on nothing better than this? You're not, oh, I thought you was going to level it up. I thought you were going to be more of this and more of that. And you're not doing this and you're not. I mean, it grinds on a person. It grinds on a person. So when you're around a person who actually appreciates and listens to you and cares about what you think and communicates back to you, that can actually create a whole different, dynamic, Michelle. And the fact that you're so stuck into the letter of the law. Oh, well, you're married. You haven't acted like you have been married since you walked off the altar. From the point that they sat and popped the champagne and he told her about that house and where he was living at, she stopped being married. The whole idea and understanding of marriage floated right out of her head the moment that she heard something come out of his mouth that she didn't like, she didn't want to hear, and that she didn't want to agree with. So there's been no perception or action of marriage from you this entire time, Michelle. So miss me when I am not falling out because you're offended because David is out here tipping around, not doing it. And for everybody that's sitting up, oh, well, marriage is, cheating is wrong. Cheating is wrong. And I don't condone David's activities, and I don't condone his speech. My thing is, I do understand that he's a human being. Why he has decided to stay on the show, what he knew that him and Madison, were doing, I'm assuming. I'm making an assumption that it's him and Madison, so bear with me. But he could have left the show, and him and Madison still could have been doing whatever it is that they were doing with him not being on the show. So the fact that he actually compromised that level of his morals and what he wants to be, I think they got comfortable that they were in the same building with each other and with his schedule. So we're looking at Madison, and I'm going to slide into her and Alan, I guess. We're looking at her tipping in to the house. I love the receipts that Married at First Sight had. I'm sure that we're going to get more receipts out of them. Just so we can all line up this mess that we are looking at. But they're showing her coming in 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. And she's like, I'm eating a velvet taco. And David was eating tacos late at night on the honeymoon. So that was another thing that snatched me back. I'm like, oh, so this is where he got his little taco habit. Because he gets off late. Remember, Michelle had to stay up for him. So Madison stays up. I don't know how she gets up to go to work. Girl, are you taking 5-hour energy? What's going on with you, Madison? How are you able to burn this candle at both ends? The girl's at the gym. She's working. She going to the bars and stuff with her friends. And she able to date David. Girl, what is going on? How is it? You need to write a book on how to keep this level of stamina going. And then not have bags and stuff, under your eyes. So whatever it is, she knows how to juggle and keep them balls in the air related to her life. So anyway, so it kind of fits into why her activities in the night are such that they are. Because that's probably the time that she and David are able to actually sit down and talk and communicate, with each other. Because she's at work in the daytime. And then he goes to work, in the evening. Doesn't get off, until late. So I thought that was disrespectful. And then when she was talking to Pia and Alan, and Alan was like, "Yeah, she goes out a few times a week," and she's like, "Oh, it's not that much, is it?" And Dr. Pia was like, "Wait a minute, what? You're doing all these, activities. Why don't you just being in a space, with your husband? Even if y'all are disagreeing with each other, y'all can still occupy this same space, holding this disagreement as you work your way, through it. Why is it that you're taking yourself out of this space and going and sharing all of this time and energy, with other people instead of using it effectively to, make your marriage, better?" And then that's when they gave us the receipts to counteract what Madison, was actually telling us. So thank you, Married at First Sight. And, this is the only couple I think that they've used the couple cam with consistently. I mean, now that I'm actually sitting here thinking about it, yeah, they're the only couple. So anyway, thank you, Couples Cam, for, giving us, this bird's eye view of what they've got, going on. The other thing with Madison and Alan is Alan needs to do something with his mouth. And one thing that I can't stand with men anymore is them running off at their mouths. I haven't been able to get away with it, and I'm not going to allow them to be able to get away with it. You need to put a filter on your mouth. The fact that Alan thought that he could be comfortable enough calling Madison transactional in her energy when that was your first impression of her. That was your first impression of your wife, Alan. And then you thought that was going to be something cute. I mean, you didn't even take time to really even think about your words. Oh, well, this is not the right word, but I'm going to use it because I don't have a better word. You couldn't find a better word because the whole idea of what you was trying to say was trash, Alan. So for everybody who's sitting up, "Oh, Alan, oh, he's so cute. Oh, he's so nice. Oh, well, we have to think about Alan. Alan and his unfiltered mouth is what got him in this situation in the first place. I remember when he came out of the bathroom with them ugly underwear on. I mean, this is your wedding night. Dude, go get you some silk boxers and a nice top. Okay? Don't come out in a wife beater and your drawers and your tidy whities and then tell her, "Well, this is how I work every day. I sit around the house in my drawers and this is how I make my money." And then you want her to be attracted to you. Are you serious right now? Okay, so she's already looking at stuff that you got going on. You don't have like a fit toned body, right? So that's unattractive. You got jacked up teeth. That's unattractive. Your clothes, your fashion sense is trash in her eyes. So you've got all of these deficits that you're trying to overcome. And then you turn around and you have no filter for your mouth. I don't even know what kind of woman you think is going to put up with you just calling her a 304 when you first meet her. That's the kind of shit you do with the club. This is not the club, Alan. This is your wife. And even he doesn't understand that. But then he wants Madison to be able to look at him as her husband. Yeah, when you looking at her like she's a slut and a whore and transactional, that was inappropriate, and he better be glad that Madison, I'd have cussed him out. His feelings would have been hurt. I'd have been like, "Y'all need to cut the camera off." Y'all need to cut the camera off, and I'll cuss his ass clean out. And then I would have left. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping, looking at all of this and wrapping it up, because we're at 39 minutes. And I appreciate Jasmine W. I ain't trying to be on here longer than an hour with you guys. So we're coming up, to a point where I've got to land the plane. My thing with these people is when you come on this show, go back and look at the seasons. Don't just sign up for the show because they showed up in your city. I actually would be excited if they came to San Francisco. But San Francisco is not what it used to be. So I really don't know. I don't know. I'm sure it'd be okay, but I wouldn't be as excited about it as I would have been maybe 10 years ago. It would have been a fabulous time to come to San Francisco about 10 years ago. But anyway, I digress. I don't know what these people are coming on this show for when you don't understand what marriage is. Okay? You can't just talk. You have to have empathy and a humanity for a person that you don't know that now you're married to. And we aren't equipped. The stuff that used to work for our parents and our grandparents doesn't work anymore. So you're coming into this whole situation of marriage way more ignorant than any other time in human history. And we're supposed to have the most knowledge at this time in human history. And we're regressing where we know less. We know less about the opposite sex. We know less about different cultures. We know less about the systems and the societies, that we're living in and our prospective, countries. So this level of ignorance is manifesting itself in so many other, ways in how we interact with each other and our relationships, with one another. So let's see. I want to thank Carla, for her effervescence and just her whole butterfly experience that she's allowed me, to have. I really want to be able to kind of live that level of authenticity of how I move through my spirit and how my spirit takes over. I want to be in a more spiritual mind with an analytical backup. I like my analytical mind, but I think I'm more free when I embrace myself in my spirituality. I think that is a level of freedom that is available to indigenous people that Western ideology is foreign. They are the opposite of that. They are like one. They are like that dude Terrell from Random Guys, Random Thoughts. That joker is the opposite of spiritual. I would not be surprised if he ends up with a white woman or some Asian or somebody else. I can't imagine him being with a black woman because his mind is such Western. He has such Western ideology that it's scary, when I listen to him. I mean, some of his ideas, I can kind of get with, but that joker is colonized. His friend Yanni Rude is not too far, behind him. The fact that, they are two peas in a pod. What else did I want to tell Carla? Girl, one of the things that really started me appreciating her in that last after party was like, girl, when a man wants you, he comes for you. That is confidence magnified. And it is why she's able to be the woman that she is. Just something as simple as that understanding is something that could be taught. That is why MM isn't able to break herself away from Ikechi. It's because she doesn't understand that level of effervescence. You know, when a man wants you, girl, shut up. It is just, it's a magic carpet ride. And MM is not on a magic carpet ride. Ikechi did not do anything. Putting her hand on his junk in the spur of the moment, it's not a magic carpet ride. And he keeps saying that, and I'm going to get ready to get off of here, but he was saying that after the honeymoon is when he started having problems. That is a lie. I distinctly remember when they were in the bed and she was trying to cuddle with him. He was like, oh no, my mama watching. And he was all on the other side of the bed. That joker was never attracted to her. This has been something that he has been trying to talk himself into until he just wasn't trying to talk himself into it, no more. And then he wants to put it on her that she's being sexually aggressive. And so I don't appreciate that, Ikechi. There's a lot of things about you that I don't appreciate. I don't appreciate the way you dress. I don't appreciate your communication. I don't appreciate your thought process. I don't appreciate your lack of empathy and humanity, with your wife. He'll sit up and treat somebody, a stranger on the street, better and more with more consideration than he treats his own damn wife. And that is the kind of sickness that has infected the black male mind. They are on a collision course to become the biggest enemy of black women. And it's like the enemy in your house. The Lord said that your real enemies are gonna come out of your own household. And I see that when I look at black men. Black men are moving in the direction where they're not going to be safe. They're not going to be a safe place for black women. And this has been happening throughout my 50-year experience dealing with black men. All the way from my grandfather, from my father, from my uncle who molested me, to my brother who has absolutely no respect for me. I have 4 men in my own household that do not like me and that have never treated me with love and respect. So this is a 50-year thing that I have experienced. And I know it has done nothing but become more exponential and more degradation. There is a level of rot that has festered in the black community in America. And I feel sorry for people like MM who have come to this country and have learned how to exist in this society and still cannot connect, with our black men the way that she should, be able to. So I hope that this is something, beneficial. I'm going to do this Making Good video, child. Now that I feel better, I'm going to ask the Lord to please give me the words so I can tell y'all about this woman. And we continue to pray for her because I don't want her to be lost. I actually want Megan to be able to stand in front of Jesus one day and be welcome, into his kingdom. So thank you guys. I appreciate your time and attention. And again, your patience, with me. And I don't know how this whole after show thing, is going to work. I thought that I would get more of a response from this last after party. So I'm really disappointed again. This is why I stopped doing the after parties in the first place. Is because I didn't get the kind of reaction that I thought I should get. So I'm just going to try to pray and stay open. And if I need to show you guys some information, I want to be able, to do that. So take care. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video.